No. No!
I haven't read any books.
No!
That's okay, Farpoint. You can't hear us, but it's okay.
Okay. Now is it working? Because it says it is. Holy bejeebus. You know what? Horror addicts, ain't nobody asked you.
Yeah. Peanut gallery.
Yeah. I like it when you get sassy. It's like your best quality.
I don't know what that means. I should probably not say it if I don't know where
Peanut
to say
gallery?
Yeah.
I don't know if it has any weird oranges.
Well, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Horror
Yeah.
addicts.
Horror addicts. They have these little thingies now. What are these little thingies?
He's a number one fan. It's like a crown and a number one.
Oh my goodness. So, Adam, dearest Adam.
I can't see.
Yeah, so this whole having the monitor lower thing is kind of not...
It's
I mean,
okay.
it was cool. Okay. You know what, I'm going to do
There we go. Okay, that's better.
Would
that's
that,
way better. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Oh wait, yeah. I'm supposed to do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. There.
Great.
Now everything's coming up.
Oh, does that mean like he was the first one in here and Horror Addicts was the second one in here?
I guess. I don't know. That's like
or
a
is
new
Horror
thing.
Addicts only a number 2 fan?
Or they're just number 2, like Dookie.
Dookie.
Anyway,
Marry
me, weirdos. I'm Gory Movie.
And I'm Kayla.
And this is us in our brand new spanking location. Aside from spanking, we also do book club here. So,
yeah, we do. So, yeah, here we are. This is Gory's beautiful new setup. This place is so cozy and so cute.
I'm going to get more lights so you'll be able to see Pipkin, God's favorite boy. Though he has new pajamas now.
He's so cute and hairy.
He is so beautiful and he has the reddest butt and he has hooks now, which means he can mate.
I wish that they could see him better because he is really cute, but that's okay.
I've got new lights coming because the lights I used to have above there don't work.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, I'll figure it out. You'll see them next month, okay?
Just
right
be
now you
patient.
just have a little candle.
I'm down.
If he goes up in the glass, you might be able to see him. Anyway, so I'm so glad Adam is here. We're going to talk about some really good books, but we wanted to announce...
I'm not holding him.
You don't want to hold him because he's a New World tarantula, and so his hairs are really, really itchy. Just holding his molt, he is molt, makes my hands itch like crazy. So I wouldn't recommend holding him.
I'm not doing it.
Plus, he would hate it.
Yeah.
He doesn't like greasy human hands.
All my oils.
And Kayla's like extra greasy.
I am, and I ate pizza.
Yeah, we're both greasy.
Pizza hands.
Anyway, Farpoint Station, stop distracting me. Oh my gosh, I was trying to make a big announcement to talk about how much we appreciate you because next month is Farpoint Appreciation Month.
Woo,
Dun,
woo.
dun. Because you're the one person who comes to every single book club without fail. I mean, sometimes Danny does too. But mostly you.
He's legally obligated to, though. So.
Legally obligated. So same thing with Time Capsule.
Mm-hmm.
But Farpoint's just here because he's our buddy.
The best.
So we're gonna actually skip ahead. We'll cover it again at the end and tell you what we were reading next month, which we decided to pick Red Shirts.
Mm-hmm.
It's set in. It's very much like basically the Enterprise. They call it something else. It's the Enterprise, dude. And I've already started reading it, and it's really, really good. So we picked that with you in mind. And then we're reading Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which is a sequel to the book we read this month, which is really good. And as a bonus, guess what? Hold on to your butts. As a bonus, I'm going to buddy read Mountain Man 2 with you. Like, Kayla won't read it because she didn't read the first one. That's fine. But I will do a bonus third book and find out what's going on with Gus.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
gosh. So, yeah. So, we'll be reading that for Adam Appreciation Month. Mm-hmm. And we'll be reading Red Shirts.
Yeah.
So,
who knows? Maybe if things get crazy, maybe I'll pick up the first Mountain Man.
I actually have the audiobook that has like the first 4 books together.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Well, that's
so,
cool.
And the audiobook reader was really good.
Cool.
So, yeah, I think I got it on Audible.
Sweet deal.
Anyway, back to, I just wanted to tell you all the coolness.
Do you have a reason to stick around?
Yes, so stick around and find out. All right, so moving on up, like the Jeffersons. Where's our books? Huh? What's up with that? Which one are we starting with?
We can start with that one because...
Sorry we're a little disorganized. I mean, I'm moving, guys. Moving sucks. This last month, so next month is Adam Appreciation Month, and that's what we're going to call it. Mm-hmm. And this last month was Cat Month. Cat Appreciation Month. So I'm wearing the shirt from my favorite cat movie, Uninvited. The movie about a cat that pukes up a smaller mutant cat. Absolutely fits us. And then this cat bandana.
Cute. I don't have any cat.
She has cat fur on her, and that counts.
I'm sure
I have cat fur on me. And you probably have my cat's fur on you now.
Everybody's everywhere.
Yes.
What's life without a little cat hair in your coffee?
Ugh. Anyway, so Starter Villain was a great book for Cat Appreciation Month.
It really was.
So it's by John Scalzi.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot about him because he's highly recommended to people who enjoy, like, particularly, like, Matt Dinniman. Kind of that thing where he's, like, fantasy, sci-fi. He has a good sense of humor. He's recommended to people who like Douglas Adams, you know, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. So if that's your jam and jelly, he should be up your alley.
Yeah.
His newest book is basically The Moon Got Replaced by Cheese, and it's called When the Moon Hits Your Eye. Like, this is what we're working with here. Mm-hmm. He's won a lot of awards, though. He won the Hugo Award for Red Shirts, and he won some awards for Old Man's War, which is basically an older man who joins the war effort.
Wow.
And it's like a space war, and that was like his first big thing. But Starter Villain came out, I think, in 2023?
Yes, I think you're correct. I have a note. Boop, 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 boop.
While she's looking up her note, Farpart wants to know, did you guys find anything cool in your place? Forgotten spices in the kitchen cabinets, money, skeletons. I found some paints, a coloring book, a child's blanket. There's an attic that Kayla and I are going to explore. There's a smell coming from there. I don't know. It could be mothballs. It could be mildew. It could be bodies.
It could be a whole man living up there.
It could be a whole man living up there. So, we'll find out. Okay, so...
Yes, it did come out in 2023.
Came out in 2020. I'm so good, guys. I'm so good. I'm so good.
Oh, my God.
So, this book came out in 2023. And he actually, I guess, was writing it during, like, the pandemic, but he got COVID. So, it took him longer to produce this one. But he comes out with, like, a book every year. Mm-hmm. Ew, I don't want a child living in my walls. Anyway, so this is a really fun book. I think especially if you are into like Ian Fleming's James Bond books, because it's kind of a parody on that. I do like that John Scalzi definitely seems to have like his fandoms, you know? James Bond, Star Trek. But I really got a lot of Austin Powers vibes, especially Dr. Evil.
I was thinking the whole time, I was like, man, I should rewatch Austin Powers.
Yes, or even Despicable Me vibes.
Yes.
So essentially, and this one I did a little of both. I read the ebook, but I also listened to a lot of the audiobook because I like Will Wheaton, who also did like Ready Player One. He's done a lot of great audiobooks, but he did this one. He does all of John Scalzi's. Anyway, this guy, he is a relatably writer who can't get any work. He used to be a journalist, and now he's just trying to hang on to his home that he grew up in, that his siblings are trying to take away. And he would like to get a loan so he can buy the bar that he has great memories of hanging out with his dad in. And yeah, his uncle dies, but he barely knew the guy. Like, the guy, his dad told him to kind of get out of the family, don't talk to us again, when our main character was a kid. So the main character, what's
Charlie.
his name? Charlie. He doesn't think anything's going to come from it. But he finds out he has a big inheritance. He is taking over. He's invited to, well, first he's invited to stand for his uncle at his funeral. And when that goes as well as can be expected, it's not well. Yeah. He finds out he's inheriting his uncle's business, which he is told is parking garages. It's not parking garages. He's a villain, as in a villain. I'm twirling my mustache that I don't have.
$1 million.
Yes. He's a villain.
He's a villain.
So, and it's essentially the villains, they like disrupt things. And they have a lot of plots to make a lot of money without getting caught.
Yes.
And they have a lot of different things. So his uncle has a volcano lair that he inherits. Yeah. He has cats. He finds out even his 2 cats were spies for his uncle.
Hera and Persephone.
They are super intelligent. They can type. They have their own keyboards. He finds out his cat this whole time has had her own Airbnb with fancy food.
Yeah. She also is like a real estate mogul.
Oh, yeah. She's a real estate mogul. Yeah. We'll come back to that. Yeah. And he feels so bad because she has like gourmet fish. And he's like, I've been giving you Meow Mix. And she's like, I like Meow Mix. It's like potato chips. Yeah.
I feel like it's great.
But they love him. They actually choose to stay there with him, even though they were just supposed to spy on him, because they really do love him. They do. And, they have dolphins that do, like, missions.
Lasers on their head.
Freaking lasers
on their head.
So it's the whole shebang. And Charlie is not...
Those dolphins are assholes.
They are. But Charlie's not entirely sure if this is something that he really wants to get involved in. Charlie considers himself to be like a nice person, but it is a lot more complicated than it is initially presented, and his uncle has a lot of enemies.
Yes. So when he takes on the business, his uncle had this like woman working for him. I can't remember her name. Matilda.
Yeah.
They call her Till. So she's like the brains of the operation. She knew everything that was going on. And she's kind of like his guide through this process. And he gets invited to this convention. I can't remember.
Kind of like Hagrid, only she's like, you're a villain, Charlie.
And she knows a lot. She's much brighter than Hagrid. Love Hagrid, but he's not that smart. So he gets invited to this convention for villains in like Rome or something, right? It's something very fancy. But he's not a villain. He's just a guy.
And everybody has all their cats and stuff. And he finds out that nobody liked his uncle. But his uncle had a ton of money. He was... They didn't like him, one, because he's more successful. But he was a different kind of villain than they were.
Yeah. He's tried to sabotage them a lot. Like, he spent a lot of effort trying to make the other villains' plans not work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he tries to sabotage them a lot, because a lot of them have very, like, low morals and stuff, and will kill people, and will put people in danger, and his uncle never did anything like that. And he particularly didn't like that him being in this line of work put his family in danger, which is why he was told he could not be a part of Charlie's life and not a part of his sister's life. And his sister died, and his dad,
It was
Charlie's
his mom.
Yeah, Charlie's dad said after that
saying.
happened, he blamed the uncle.
Yeah.
So he said, you can't be a part of our lives anymore. And so that's why this uncle is really resentful against these other villains, because they've kind of taken away his life. And so he kind of makes it his life's mission to be the biggest pain in the ass possible. He also has access to this vault that has, like, supposedly millions of treasures, like in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Top men.
Yeah.
And they want it. So, and the uncle just kind of hoarded it.
Yeah, billions of dollars worth of stuff that will melt your face off.
Yes, melt your freaking face off.
Face.
The plot of this one, I mean, that's really all you need to know. Anything more is just spoiler territory. This is a fun book. It's really kind of a fish out of water type book.
Yeah.
So we're introduced to this whole villain world with Charlie. We kind of get baby steps into it, and in a lot of ways, Charlie being not a part of this world makes it to where he's able to bring fresh perspectives. They have a whole thing where the dolphins are trying to go on strike.
Yeah, they want to unionize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So the dolphins, they can't be set free because they don't get along with regular dolphins because the other dolphins are not intelligent. So they don't like that. But they feel that because they are intelligent, that they have rights, which I'm honestly, like, the dolphins swear a lot and they are assholes, but I did think that the intelligent cats and the dolphins should have rights.
I wrote down the dolphins' names because I thought that they were so funny.
Yes.
Who gives a shit? Don't care. Fuck you. Fuck off. Burn it down and eat the rich.
Yes. Which is what they say when he asks them their names. But yeah, they're very, very aggressive.
Yeah.
But they've also just been treated like
Animals.
Yeah. And they're more than that. They're able to, they're highly intelligent.
Yeah.
So Charlie does believe that they should have rights. They should have a union. They should be treated with respect.
Yeah.
And the cats really don't push it too much because the cats do have more benefits. Like, they get their own place to live and stuff. So they're trying not to upset the status quo too much. But the dolphins really, I mean, they don't really get a whole lot.
Yeah.
And they've been put into a position where they cannot live in the wild anymore. So, yeah, I mean, they're assholes, but they're assholes that I understand. And Charlie's able to see that coming into it from the outside perspective. And there are a lot of ways where Charlie is able to, like, kind of make things better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, because the cats are, like, on land, and so, like, they can like, they have a little bit more freedom. Like, they can go wherever they want.
Yeah,
they can blend in a little easier with other cats. It's just not as hard for them. But yeah, I liked the dolphins a lot.
There's whales too, super smart whales. Yeah.
I also, this isn't anything to do with anything, but he named the Uncle Jake, he named all of his boats after Jennifers. He has a Jennifer Lopez, the Jennifer Lawrence, and the Jennifer Tilly.
And the Tilly, yeah.
I thought that was cute.
I thought that was really cute too.
Yeah.
So it's a fun book. It's like kind of a fish out of water story, and it is fun to see where it goes, because honestly, even though it seems like something we probably should have seen before, I haven't really seen anything like this. So it's kind of like, well, where is this going to go? Is he going to become this new head of the villain thing? And a lot of other people are trying to take him out and stuff too, to, like, get control.
Yes.
So there's a lot of action.
It was very action-packed. It was really fun. I thought it was a good, like, not quite popcorny, but a good, like, beach read.
Yeah, it's a good summer read.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's exactly, the books we picked this month were perfection, because with moving and everything, I didn't want anything super heavy. My attention's all over the place. This is a fun read. Like, this is, like, just a chill read. It's entertaining, so it's not, it's not boring. It's short. It wasn't that long at all.
No.
It was a really fast read.
Yeah.
I kind of, towards the middle there was like a few slow parts there. When you get into the convention thing, initially a lot of that feels like it's kind of going on for a while. Like, okay, well, where's this going? And then it starts to get into the action stuff. There's a couple places there where it's a little slow, but like I said, it's such a short book that you just, you just power through it.
I felt like, because we'd been reading so many, like, deep and like meaningful things that I was expecting more of that. Like I almost wanted more of that, and I was a little disappointed. But then after I was done with it and like saw the book for what it was and not like what we had been reading, I really appreciated the levity of it.
Yeah, I think it's okay for some books to just be entertainment. Yeah. And I think it's also, I mean, if you want to get deeper into it, it's kind of a book about trying to find your place in this world when people believe that you should already have your place. And I relate to that as somebody who's in her 40s and still trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. Yeah. And this is a guy who I think he's 32. 32, yeah. And, you know, he's still trying to find his place in the world and trying to figure out things for himself and understanding, you know, even his place in his family. So I think there are things in there that are definitely relatable, but primarily I think this is just like, you know how sometimes you put on like a favorite just fun comedy show just to relax and I don't want to say turn off your brain because I hate that expression, but just to relax and not have something be essentially homework, just to be pure entertainment. Yes. I guess is what I'm saying. Like how a lot of times I'll play a video game just to be entertained. I don't want to do any work. I don't want my, you know, I just want to have fun. Yeah. And that's what this book is. It was a really good time. I enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to reading Red Shirts, and I would like to read the Kaiju Preservation Society too. He has so many really good books. Yes. He has a lot of really good books. Like his premises are fantastic. It's just like, whoa, like you had me with the get you line. Yeah, and then they're executed well. Like this was really fun. It wasn't at all really what I was expecting, and I had a great time. So I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. I love the cats, and I also like this is like there's like one female character in this, but it does call itself out on that, which yes, it does. When you watch things like James Bond and stuff, I mean they have a lot of the Bond girls, but there's very rarely, aside from I guess the queen or the mom, I think is her name. The head lady. Yeah, aside from the head lady, there's not a lot of women in there. So, I mean, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I think for what it's trying to do, it accomplished it very, very well. Yeah, good time. So, I think we'll segue because this next month we're going to be reading another John Scalzi book. Yeah, and we're going to be reading part 2 of the next book we're going to be talking about. So, do you want to kind of segue into talking about... We'll just do it at the end. About what Red Shirts is about? We can talk about what it's about real quick. Let me pull it up. I'm not prepared. Part of the reason I wanted to do this is because we don't do a lot of sequels here. Usually because we want you guys to kind of jump in with us. Yeah. But I thought if we did it back to back, that would help. Plus, a lot of people have read that House in the Cerulean Sea. And Red Shirts and Starter Villain have nothing to do with one another. Is that my dog or is that my playing footsie with you? It's okay. I don't mind. What's up? I don't mind. But I think it could be fun because this is our first John Scalzi book to say, like delve more into his writing, see like maybe like what his range is. Because he won the Hugo Award for Red Shirts. And already I'm reading it. I'm like, okay, this is going into some deeper places than Starter Villain. Yeah. It's really interesting. I think it's like Cabin in the Woodsy, so I'm excited. And then, with the other one, like to the sequel, we can kind of compare, the books from next month to the books in this month. Plus, we got that bonus book. We can get into that discuss. Serious business. So, Farpoint says popcorn reads have their place for sure. And I 100%, we did a lot of beach reads like last year too. And like I said, right now, that's exactly what I want. I've been reading a lot of heavy stuff. And with everything going on right now, it's nice to have a second to just have a good time. Yeah. I think sometimes books can be a really fun escape. And that's what this felt like. Yep. I agree. Yay! Time capsule! Go books. Go books indeed. Go books. Danny gives it a Dr. Evil out of a Dr. Dolittle. Very interesting. I like it. I did you read it to him at all? Or he has been reading kind of his own books. He read Enchantra, which is the sequel to Phantasma. Right. You know that only has one sex scene in the whole book? Really? I know! I was like, whoa, look at that. I'm baffled. And he's reading Project Hail Mary right now, which the
Oh,
trailer
awesome.
just came out for that. We have
Doug's
to go
reading
see
it
that.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it so much.
So good.
So good. Okay, so ratings for this one.
I believe I gave it a 4 out of 5.
I'm gonna go double check. I should have had this pulled up. So I had this whole.
I did give it a 4 out of 5.
I have this whole really nerdy spreadsheet, and it gets ridiculous. I'm gonna go take a look. It's ridiculous, is what it is. Oh wait, that's the main. No, that's the book one.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm making noises. Okay, starter villain. So I gave it a 3.5, rounded up to a 4 on Goodreads. I kind of rounded up to whatever's closest to the rating. So it's a 3.5, closer to a 4 than it is to a 3.
I agree with that. I think if we could give half stars, I would have given it a 3.5. But I had such a good time.
On here.
We can on here. That's right. 3.5.
Oh. Well then, Kayla. Yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, I thought it's good. It's definitely it's a book I'm going to remember.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time. It's one I recommend. So yeah, above average.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny listened to a little bit of the audiobook with me when we were like packing and stuff.
Yeah, nice. Love it.
So yeah, there's that one.
Cool.
Are we ready for our next book?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
All right, this one's going to get a little bit meteor.
So
Meteor?
many.
Meteor?
Meteor.
Like a meteor shower? I don't even know what this life is anymore.
It's meteor, but it's like a
Look at
sweet,
that cover. I actually loved this. I'll tell you that from the get-go. I love this. I need to get this in hardback. I need to get the second one in hardback. That cover is gorgeous. It's got like the colored pages. Oh.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, this was like so sweet. Like I just wanted to crawl into this book and live in it.
This is like the Snuggies of books. It feels like a big, warm, cozy blanket and a cup of tea.
Yeah.
In book form.
Yes.
It's just like, you know those memes where you see Sully from Monsters, Inc. and he gives Boo a big hug? That's this book.
I agree with that 100%.
Because Sully is cerulean.
He is. That's perfect. Little specks of purple in it.
Yes. This is exactly the book I needed this month. And that's not to say it's fluff. It's just, it has a lot of great stuff in it. And I think it has a lot of, depth to it. But it's also just very feel good. And, yeah, sometimes I think we need that from our fantasy. Sometimes it's escapism, like jet setting with starter villain. And sometimes it's just escaping to a really nice fantasy world. I'm glad I read this with Kayla because I would absolutely recommend this to you because it gave me that same kind of vibe as like The Hobbit, which is a very different story. But as far as like what I mean to say is I guess this is a book that I think Bilbo would like.
I agree with that. Well, and too, I was like re-listening to what we were talking about with The Hobbit, and what you liked about it was like the world building. And this is more about the world building. There's a plot for sure, and it's important, but really like it's the world, it's the characters, it's their relationships with each other. And it's great. It's perfect almost.
But yeah, it has that quality like things like Lord of the Rings, Buffy, where they're worlds you want to escape into, worlds that you want to take a vacation in. And this is absolutely, like, I would love to go, I have a hair in my nose.
Oh, no.
This is what happens when you play with your bangs. And okay, there we go. We need to just turn off the camera when we do this so I don't have to...
Pause. You need like a loading screen
this
or something.
is a fantasy. The last one was a little more sci-fi. This is a straight-up fantasy. And there's a lot we need to discuss with this one. We've got a lot to get into this. But why don't you tell them what's about?
Yeah, so we start out with Linus Baker. He's a caseworker, and he works for this government department called the Department in Charge of Magical Youth. So essentially, magical beings are on this planet, and they're like it's not like X-Men where you have like a power, right? It's more like...
It's honestly like, it's the kind of things that you would see in like Lord of the Rings and stuff. So there's Yetis, there's gnomes, there's sprites, there's... Wyverns.
Yeah.
Any kind of magical creature, like fantasy story type creatures.
Yes.
So gnomes, they're not in this, but a brownie would be.
Yeah.
A brownie would fit in here.
Yeah.
Elves.
Maybe,
it's very like kind of that Harry Pottery type characters, or Lord of the Ringsy type characters. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an orc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this department, and all these children live in these homes essentially, and they call them orphanages, but they're homes for these kids because they do have abilities as well. They aren't just different looking. They are capable of things. And so he's a caseworker. He goes in and he investigates if there's an incident, or the orphanage just needs looking into, and he can give a recommendation on if it should stay open, if it should be closed, if something should happen there. That's his job, and he's been doing it for 17 years. He's dependable. He's bureaucratic. He follows the rules, and he does his job perfectly.
Yeah, this particular case is really, really top secret because in this particular case, that the next one they're sending Linus on, it's more that they are afraid of the children, that the children are dangerous, and that they should be under maybe stricter guidance because they don't necessarily trust the headmaster, who is Arthur Parnassus. They don't necessarily trust that he is protecting the world from these children, and Linus is very, very by the book. He is even though he's described as he's not described as being Latino. I pictured Harvey Gillian.
Oh yeah, Guillermo.
That's who I pictured. Guillermo, because he is kind of short. He's like he's rotund.
Yes.
He's round.
Yes.
As that's his words.
Yes.
And he's trying really hard because he's got high blood sugar, and he's like 42. Yeah. He's just a very relatable person, but all he has is this job, and all he has to measure his life is the rules.
Yeah.
So he's constantly looking at the rules, and
he takes the book, the rules, and he has a personal copy that he bought of the rules and regulations at his house that he reads for a good time.
And he's given up on ever having a family or a relationship just because he just doesn't think that's gonna happen for him. But he has this dream of living by the sea. He has this like mouse pad of like the ocean. It says, "Don't you wish you were here?" That's an ongoing thing in this book. And he has these sunflowers and like little peaks of color in his life. Yeah. And he's not happy, but I don't think he realizes that. Yeah. And he has this cat that's awful. And like What's it scratches up everybody.
What's her name?
Calliope. Yes.
Yes.
It's a very ill-tempered cat, but it does like him.
Yes.
And so, he has this kind of dreary, dark life, and he's never even seen the ocean. So he takes this assignment, and it's very, very top secret, and he's not supposed to tell anybody about it.
He doesn't even really know anything about it.
No, they won't tell him anything about the kids or anything, and he's not really sure what he's getting into. But it's over by the sea. And so he's excited about maybe see the ocean. Then he starts looking at the files. The first one he sees is a kid that goes by the name of Lucy, which I love that they're Linus and Lucy.
Yeah. Oh my god, I never knew about that. Oh my god. Love it.
And Lucy is short for Lucifer, and Lucy is the Antichrist. Linus just passes right out at the train station.
He just faints. He's like, what? And so he gets woken up at the train station, and he has to go, and that's just the first kid.
That's just one kid. So like there's
other
whole
kids
movies about the Antichrist, like the Omen and stuff. That's just one. Yeah. But that's the level of that. I think it might be controversial to some people. I think it's good that they had the Antichrist. Because you need to understand where Linus is coming from. Because I think most people, because we were familiar with movies about, the Antichrist, and we've seen South Park and stuff. We think, oh gosh, like that's not going to end well. It never ends well, and it helps put you in the position of Linus, where you're coming into this going, no, you need to shut this down.
Am I about to die?
Yes, because this is highly dangerous.
So he goes into this house, and he meets all the children and sees what they're capable of. And
so let's break it down.
Yeah.
So we have Linus. Not Linus. We have Lucy.
Yes.
So Lucy's 6 years old. He's got I think violet colored eyes, and he plays it up. He knows people are afraid of him, and so he just says, "Oh shoot!"
He's like, "I'm gonna melt your organs out." Or
I wish I would have grabbed my Kindle. I highlighted so much. He will be like, "Yeah, I will melt your organs out, and you will, my brethren will feast upon your souls and stuff, and my heart is darkness," and all these he says really, really messed up stuff. One of the quotes I remember was just, they asked him where he came from. He's a smart ass too. So obviously, they want to know, is he from hell and stuff? He's like, I came from a vagina that was penetrated by a penis. He just says shit.
He's the best. He's so good.
I think he's trying to shut people down before they can shut him down, because not a lot of people give him a chance. Yeah. And Arthur, he will say he's just a boy. He's just a child.
They're not allowed to say Antichrist.
No, they aren't even to say that. He's just a boy. And he does suffer a bit. He's never met his father, his biological father, but Lucy says he has spiders in his brain, and so sometimes he has these really, really scary dreams, and he will, with his powers, destroy the house, and he feels terrible.
Yeah, but he tries really hard not to hurt the other kids. And
he can see how people are going to die and stuff. He has a lot of powers, and he's afraid of it, too. Yeah. And he does have he just enjoys dark stuff. His favorite songs are by the Big Bopper, Frankie Valens, and Buddy Holly, which they all died together in the plane crash.
Dead people. And dead people make the best music.
Dead people music, which is kind of morbid, but then it's also really bright, happy songs. And they're the same kind of songs that Linus likes.
Yes, they have the same taste in music. Bobby Darin, Frank Sinatra, all those 50s kind of croonery type songs. It's really, really sweet.
And then you see him dancing and singing, Bobby Darin songs and just stroking his little booty, or how protective he is. They go on adventures and they have to wear their little adventure outfits that look like little Boy Scout outfits, and how he looks out for them. If the other ones get scared or whatever, he genuinely is concerned. And Linus starts to slowly realize, no, he is just a boy.
He's just a little boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first child you meet is my favorite, is Talia, and she's a gnome, and her and Lucy are very much alike. She's a gnome, but she's the only female gnome that they know about.
Yes. She's a glorious beard.
Yes, she has a beard. She's 200 years old, but gnomes don't reach maturity until they're 500.
So she's still a kid.
So she's still just a little kid. But she threatens death a lot.
Oh, she does. She digs a hole at one point for Linus, and that's where we're burying your body. She is no nonsense.
Just get it.
And really dark. And that's one of the things I love about this is Arthur, he has such a big heart for all of these kids, and he can see that they need to be loved and stuff. And I have been reading a lot about foster kids and stuff, and especially with the teenagers, it's interesting, a lot of the things that happens. A lot of these teenagers, they get to a home, and these people will be they put up a big flat screen, they got them new beds and new sheets, and sometimes, sadly, very often, the kids will trash it, and then the parents are they are throwing it in our face, and it's because they're pushing you. They want to see, you're being really nice, but they don't want to let their guard down, so they're going to push you now, and have you give up on them now, before they get comfortable, because when they get comfortable and they've opened up their heart to you, then it's going to hurt more. Yeah. And so a lot of these kids, if the rules no swearing, they will swear up a storm. Yeah. They just want to see what they need to do to get you to get rid of them. Yeah. Because they hope that you won't.
Yeah. Well, in that vein, I think the next good person to talk about would be Sal.
Yes.
The were-Pomeranian. So he's older, but he's been through a lot. He's been really hurt.
He's been bounced from 12 different homes.
Yeah. But he's a big guy, but he turns into a Pomeranian.
Yeah, I kind of pictured the kid from The Blind Side, because he is a teenager. He's a very large, he's black, very big kid, and so you think, his size, he's constantly trying to make himself smaller, but when he's scared or when he's threatened, he turns into a tiny Pomeranian. So it's kind of the opposite of a lot of werewolf things where you turn into something bigger. He's actually a very large teenager who turns into a tiny little dog. But yeah, he's always just like, it seems like he's just trying to crawl into himself, and he loves to write, and he writes really beautiful things.
He writes really good poetry
and stories.
And Calliope really takes a liking to him.
Yes, and he's got a big heart. Like, he is one of the ones where he doesn't speak often. When he does, he says something usually really, like, vulnerable and profound.
Yeah.
And he really also gets along with one of the other kids who's a wyvern, and I love him. His name is Theodore.
He's so cute.
So Theodore, they tell Linus right away, like, you need to give him a gift, which you don't actually have to do.
Yeah.
But Theodore has a collection.
Yes.
And he gives him a button.
Hoard.
Yes.
He has a hoard.
Linus gives him a button, and Theodore thinks it's the absolute best thing ever. It's his favorite thing. And he keeps these things, and they're all little mementos of his favorite people.
I highlighted something too about that because he says something about, like, it's not about the button itself, it's the fact that, like, it exists, or the fact that, like, you gave it to him or something like that.
Basically, yeah.
It was really sweet.
They're all little things that remind him of different people that he cares about. And it's so funny at first because Linus is just thrown into this, and he's just like, what on earth is this?
Yeah.
And the Theodore will chitter. He'll, like, make a little chitter noise, and then everyone will laugh like, Theodore, you're so funny. And Linus is like,
I don't get it.
I don't get it. That was not English. And eventually it's so wonderful how gradual this book is. Mm-hmm. Because just as we're warming up to the kids, and we're like, okay, like, they're weird, but they're sweet. Okay. Just as we are, Linus starts to. And then like, it's so funny when you notice that Linus understands Theodore.
Yeah. It's really sweet.
It's really, really cute. Sweet.
And then we have Chauncey.
Chauncey! Actually, Chauncey's my favorite.
He's so cute.
I love Chauncey.
We don't know what Chauncey is. He's a gelatinous green blob.
Yeah.
But he has
like little stalks with his eyeballs on it.
But he has a dream of becoming a bellhop.
So it's really sad. A lot of these kids were kind of told one thing about who or what they are, and it's not necessarily who they feel they are, and they're kind of learning that they can be what they want to be. And I think that can it has a lot of room for a lot of people to relate to. You know, whether you were a kid who grew up gay or trans or just anybody who felt like they were not allowed to be who they are.
Yeah.
But Chauncey was told that he's a big scary monster and his job is to hide under the bed and scare you. And so he still has this habit where he will show up under your bed, but he really doesn't want to scare anybody. He has got the biggest heart. And he watched a movie where the bellhop in it, and the bellhop's job is just to make you at ease and make you feel welcome. He's like, that is the greatest. And they have a cute outfit and a hat, and he wants to do that more than anything in this world. That's all he wants.
Yeah. And
what's really, really sad is Linus says, you know, nobody would ever hire him. Yeah. It's such a small thing. It's such a small thing. And Linus realizes that this kid is never going to even get to have that. This tiny little dream that he has with the biggest heart in mind. Like, they actually go someplace. At one point, he meets this, like, old man who's a bellhop. And he's just like, you're the greatest man ever. And this guy is so just, like, heart is warmed by this kid that he gives him his hat. And it does make you sad. Because, I mean, even though this book is fantasy, and this book is really telling us, which we'll get into more in a bit, it's kind of how the world should be. You know, this book has a lot of criticisms, but I feel like this book is telling us, like, teaching us about kindness, and this book has a lot of wisdom, and it's a model for how we should be. Yeah. Without ignoring the way that things are. And so, they say, like, you know, this kid would never be hired in a nice hotel. Yeah. And that's really sad. And that's something that I think a lot of kids could relate to, whether it be because of the color of their skin or their sexual orientation or their, you know, gender identification. Maybe they're not going to be welcomed into certain spaces that they yearn to be in. And I think Chauncey's a character that a lot of kids are going to be able to relate to. But yeah, it just made me really sad because it's just like, you know, Farpoint says dreaming big, you know, and it's funny. Yeah, all he wants is to be a bellhop, and just the fact that he can't even have that. Yeah,
it's not a big dream. Like, and he can't have it.
He's not asking to be president or a CEO or anything, and it's sad, you know, when you realize that these kids are being denied access to just very, very basic spaces. I agree. It kind of reminded me of that quote from Into the Spider-Verse where his mom is telling Miles, I need you to take care of my son, my baby.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to tell you that you don't have the right to be, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
You don't have the right to be in those certain spaces. And I need you to look out for him and make sure that nobody ever gets to tell him that he will go and be in places that he wants to be in.
Yeah.
That he has a right to be there.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only other kid is Fee, right? Is that her name? Yeah. She's a sprite. And we didn't get a lot of information on her. She's also a teenager.
She's very, very powerful, though. And there's different kinds of sprites. So Zoe, is that her name? She is a sprite of the island. So it's actually her island. And she loves Arthur so much. And she loves the children that she basically is kind of caretaker of the house.
Yeah.
And makes the meals. But it is her island. And she has welcomed them there. And she kind of personally guides Fee, who is a forest sprite. So Fee can do some pretty incredible things. Like, she can have trees, like, she can have that scene in Sleeping Beauty, the animated movie, where they had the trees of thorns come up to protect the castle. Fee can do that.
Yeah.
Fee can, completely change the landscape.
She, part of, why they say she's dangerous is because she turned men into trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah, these children are really, really powerful, but they're just kids.
Yeah.
And I think what's really wonderful is Linus is really skeptical at first, but Arthur has a really, really big heart, and he very rarely gets cross about anything except for when he calls Lucy the Antichrist.
Yes. Yeah.
But Arthur came from a very hard upbringing, which, from what I understand, the second book is from Arthur's point of view.
Oh, okay.
But Arthur's very big-hearted, and I feel like he sees the best in everybody. And even though he has been burned by people before, he's had people break his trust, he has a very, very big heart. And what I love about this is it's also a love story. So we see Linus, he'll tell himself, don't notice how cute it is that his pants are short, and don't like his smile, and don't like that he's... So, don't. You can tell Linus is falling in love with him, and it's for all the right reasons. Yes. It's because Arthur has such a big heart. Yeah. And you fall in love with Arthur, too. And likewise, through the things that Arthur says... Wow, that was loud. Through the things that Arthur says, you can see why Arthur is falling in love with Linus, because Linus sticks up for these kids. So they've never gone into town, and Linus thinks that that's a problem, and that they should take the children into town. But they meet with a lot of prejudice because people are supposed to report if they see anybody who's magical.
You see something, you say something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them don't want the children anywhere near there. They don't even want the orphanage on the same island, even though it's not their place to say anything about it. And they are met with a lot of prejudice, and Linus sticks up for them. And Arthur is really just...
He gets highly defensive of them. He's like, we're going to go, and if anybody gives you any problems, you talk to me. I will shut it down. But he's such a kind of like a soft man that, even that was surprising. He takes his job very seriously, and he truly does care about these kids. But that's just not a stance that I would, at the beginning of the book, I would have thought of him to take. Yeah.
And he takes his job seriously. He doesn't want to... He knows they picked him because he's very by the book.
He can be objective.
And that's what he's trying to do. And he knows that these children and Arthur are getting under his skin and stuff, and they're making him feel things, and they're making him let down his guard, and he keeps being like, no, I can't do this. But then he starts to kind of do away with the rules a little bit and find his own path.
Do you want to talk about the controversy?
Yes, we'll talk about the controversy. There are a lot more surprises, so even though we talked about a lot about the plot, seriously, that is just the setup. Do read this, because it's such a beautiful... It's a story about found family. It's a story about finding your place. It's a story about acceptance. It's a love story, one where they don't talk about everyone's bajillion abs or whatever. No, people just love each other.
There was one other book that we had read that was a love story that I also really loved. This was one of the most believable love stories that we've read.
One of the things I liked is Linus, he's worried about his high blood pressure, and he should be, but,
not believable, but realistic. Yeah.
He eats salad a lot. So the kids asked him, like, why do you do that? Is it because you're rotund? Is it because you're round? And he's like, you can't say that. And he's like, but yeah. And they're like, well, what's wrong with being round? And
It's
the
just
little,
a shape.
the little gnome girl's like, it's just a shape. I'm round. He's like, well, you're a gnome. You're allowed to be. And then later on, because people love him just the way he is, he's like, okay, I'm going to try to be healthier, but I also accept the way I look. Mm-hmm. And it's the body that the people who love accept. And if they can accept me, I can accept me.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So good. I gave it a monster high out of Scooby-Doo in the Ghoul School. So I was a little nervous about picking this up. Because if you look on this on Goodreads, there's 1,000, like, so many 5-star reviews, and then there's a whole bunch of 1-star reviews, and they're like, oh, because of the controversy. I'm like, oh, crap.
What's that?
You know, I was so nervous. So, I've pulled it up. So, at one point, now this controversy is not anything in the book. There is no forward, afterward, anything where the author says, I was inspired by this thing and tries to appropriate anybody else's story. It is not in this book. You have to hunt it down. And I've seen it quoted lots of places. It actually was not easy to find the original one. I actually had to take a quote from it and look up the quote to find it. Interestingly, it's an interview with John Scalzi, who is the other author.
I love it.
He has a blog called whatever, Fix Your Hearts or Die, which is a quote from Twin Peaks about trans people. And he's interviewing T.J. Klune, who's the author of this book. And, okay, so T.J. Klune, the author, says he had this idea. He was asked about his inspiration for the book. And so he says he wanted to write something about magical children who should be protected at all costs and who are shunned for simply being what they are. And T.J. Klune has kind of taken it as a mission in his life as an author to write positive gay love stories. But he also wants to do like things about family and kids who are trying to find their places or to be allowed in places where, you know, they should be. Anyway, so he was reading a lot. He had Linus's voice in his head. He had the idea of the Department of Magical Youth. He already had a lot going on. Now, I will say, and as somebody who writes themselves, when you've got a story in your head, I feel like you tie it to like that song. Like that song is like this character or that thing or that TV show. You see connections everywhere. Mm-hmm. So I'm already going to tell you, like, I don't think the author's done anything wrong here. But he was reading a lot of things, and he says the idea he had remained fuzzy. And I'm reading this article here. And then he stumbled across the 60s scoop. Something I'd never heard of before, something I'd never been taught in school. I'm American, by the way. In Canada, beginning in the 1950s and continuing through the 1980s, Indigenous children were taken from their homes and families and placed into government-sanctioned facilities such as residential schools. The goal was for primarily white, middle-class families across Canada, the U.S., and even Europe to adopt these children. It estimated that over 20,000 Indigenous children were taken, and it wasn't until 2017 that the families of those affected reached a financial settlement with the Canadian government totaling over $800 million. I researched more and discovered instances the world over in my own country and abroad of the same thing happening. Families being separated because they were different, because of the color of their skin, because of their faith, because those in power were scared of them. I wrote The House in the Cerulean Sea in the spring of 2018. Months later, in the summer, news exploded from our southern border about families searching for a better life being separated and put into government-sanctioned families. So this is where the controversy comes from. A lot of people are very, very angry because he was inspired by this very dark bit of history, which if you want books that explore that, one, I know a little bit about this just from reading. I've read a couple books about foster care, but one of them was To the End of June. They do talk about this a lot. How initially they were trying to help the Indigenous children by getting them adopted by white kids. Now there's actually a lot of things in place. I'm not sure about Canada, but in the United States where they try to make it to where if you're Indigenous, you stay with your own tribe members so that you're not separated from your culture. So, but the reason there's a controversy is because some people think that it was wrong of TJ Klune to be inspired by this and then to go ahead and write a book that really kind of simplified, as they put it, the conflict. This is a very sweet fantasy. And yeah, the solution in this is very, very easy. It's just be a good person, be kind.
Yeah.
And that's not how it happened in real life. A lot of people suffered. A lot of people hurt. That's not the kind of book that TJ Klune's writing. And he says here, let me be upfront about something. I'm a white dude. There isn't much I should be preaching about. I'm queer, and a loud one at that. But the marginalization I face because of this isn't to be compared to others facing bigotry. It's not a contest. It sucks across the board, but I'm a mid-30s cis man in America. I'm privileged in a way others are not. I know this. So when I wrote Cerulean, I knew I had to do so carefully to make sure that what I decided on to be the central theme of the story wouldn't be lost. What's the central theme? Kindness. So he was inspired by this, but he is not writing a book about that.
No.
This is not a fictionalized version of that. There are books like that. I don't know about the 60s Scoop in particular, but The Reformatory is based on one of the really bad ones, Reform School, that was in Florida. A more factual one is The Nickel Boys. I read that one by Colton Whitehead. That one's really, really good. And there's also a film of that. There are people who have done this. And, it's their places to tell. Tanner Eve Dew, who wrote The Reformatory, she had an uncle who died in one of those places. She has the right to tell that story. TJ Klune recognizes this is not his story to tell. No. He's not indigenous. He did not grow up this way. And he's like, okay, I can't tell their story. But he's inspired by, how this made him feel. Yeah. And he's relating to it from a way of, being a queer man. Yeah.
And a different type of group that can be marginalized.
Yes.
And still make the story, have the same kind of meaning and feeling. You can feel that desperation and how dangerous the situation could be if this book wasn't so sweet, right? There's a lot of bad that could happen.
And this school's unique. Orphanage is a unique one.
It is, and where we spend the most time is in a good place, but there are bad orphanages, right? And you can see that in this world and how, I don't know. I don't think he's taking anything away.
I feel like what he's doing here is he recognizes that this is not the real world. It's a fantasy for starters. Yeah. It's a very high fantasy. He's saying it should be this simple. It should be this simple. We should just be kind to other human beings. Yeah. It should be that simple. And it's really sad that it's not that simple. It's really sad that so many people have suffered. And I think sometimes fiction tells us not necessarily how the world is, but how the world should be. And this book has a lot of wisdom in it. And it is an escapist fantasy where instead of maybe having to relive the horrors of the past, we get to live in a fantasy world where things are as they should be, where things are fixed. And I think he's presenting a model here for how that can be done. Because what he's having here is not so simple as everyone, it has a big Charlie Brown hug at the end. It starts with Linus and a few other people standing up going, okay, I don't know if I can make a big change, but I will be one person who stands up. He's showing a model here for how we can enact these kind of changes in our daily life. Maybe we cannot change an entire country, but maybe we can make a difference in our own town. Yeah. In our own communities.
In our own homes, even.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it goes far beyond just, bad orphanages or reform schools. It's for any kind of bigotry or prejudice. Yeah.
Because I remember when you and I were talking about it earlier, I had said that was kind of my problem with it too, that there wasn't enough grit at the end, but the more I think about it, the more I appreciate it. And then too, we have so many dystopian stories in our lives. Everything is this is the future. Look at how bleak it is. One thing that I find to be not dystopian is Star Trek, of all things, weirdly. It's kind of colonialist, but everybody's working together. They're still really open-minded, and they're trying to broaden everybody's horizons and work together. this book is pretty close to utopian in its feelings and, like, the way the world should be.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, it felt like what the kind of things you'd want to hear from a good parent or somebody to tell you that, to make you believe that things could be better.
Yeah.
And there's so many books that can remind us how bad things are. Sometimes you want to have hope, and that's what this book is.
Yeah.
It is hope, and it is kindness, and it is love, and it is just that really big, warm hug. This idea that no matter how messed up you are, no matter how ugly you think you are, no matter how scary you think you are, how weird you think you are, there are people in this world who will love you, and you know what? That is true.
Yeah.
And that part isn't fantasy. Mm-mm. And I think what the author did here is he took inspiration from something, but he made it his own, and he incorporated his own life experiences. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So what people are saying he should be doing is he should have, like, given money to Indigenous people to tell their story, but he wouldn't even know where to begin because he didn't live that life, and he's not... like, that would be wrong. That would be like, you know, when a guy in your women's studies class starts explaining to you feminism. Like, no, dude.
Don't do that.
No. People, there are wonderful Indigenous writers. You know, Stephen Graham Jones. There are a lot of Indigenous writers who are doing that. Sherman Alexie.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm sure that maybe if it had come down to that, there's, like, organizations that he can, like, give proceeds to or whatever. But that's not even necessary, I don't think, for this story. Like, it was inspiration. It was, like, the situation. But it's not even just the one place, right? We see it now in our own borders and things like families being separated, and so it's not just this one thing. It's the idea in
you
general.
You can apply this, like you said, to, like, ice or to a lot of different things. I think he made it a story that can be related to by a lot of different people, a lot of different walks of life. But I also don't think that being inspired by something means that you owe anybody anything. He's just a man who's trying to write stories.
Nothing was appropriated. Nothing was.
No,
I don't even feel like it was
credit for anything.
Yeah.
So, I think the controversy is completely unfounded. I think the 1-star reviews, because people are so appalled by this tiny interview. I mean,
but I also saw 1-star reviews from people who were like, this book was too sweet, and I don't like sweet books. It's like, well, why the fuck did you even read it then? Like, everybody says it's sweet.
I kind of understand. There's a lot of books that I haven't read yet. There's that one, it's the coffee shop, Ogre War.
Beer.
Everybody loves it, and I'm just like, okay, well, where's the conflict?
Yeah.
So, like, I know everyone loves it, but I do want some conflict in the book, because I think conflict's interesting.
Yeah.
And conflict doesn't have to be a big fight scene.
No.
In a lot of romances, conflict is just overcoming, you know, like Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. Yeah. His pride, her prejudice. That's your conflict. Yeah. You don't need a big fight scene. So people like who read Pride and Prejudice, and I read one review where it was like, it's just people going to each other's houses. Yes, but also no. The conflicts are within the humans. It doesn't have to be a big war. And that's what this is. And so I was satisfied. Like, there is conflict. There are things that make you think. There are things that make you feel. There are parts of this that, like, make you want to cry. Yeah. There are parts that make you laugh out loud. It also doesn't take itself super seriously. It's not super preachy, but it is, I think, profound.
I agree with that. I adored it. I thought it was practically perfect in every way, as Mary Poppins would say.
Yeah. And, I mean, I guess maybe I'm having more sympathy. Like, I feel bad saying, like, because I'm a writer, and I haven't published anything. But I do write a lot. But,
that's all you have to do to be a writer.
My book, and I've had this conversation with my son, is kind of inspired by being a mom raising a special needs kid. Now, it's a little complicated because the special needs kid in this book, their issue is that they're a werewolf. And I talked about it with my kid, and he was really kind of like, didn't want anything kind of like making it magical, like his condition or anything. And I explained to him that it's not really about, because I don't know what it's like to grow up with a life-threatening illness. I've never had that. I know it's like to be the mom of somebody who does. Yeah. And to feel powerless. Yeah. About their changes, and to want there to just be an easy fix. That's what the book is about. Yeah. My perspective. However, I could see people being very upset and being like, you know?
Yeah, like in the Delilah situation, like taking...
It's very, very hard to do stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think people should be penalized for what inspires them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, long as you're not trying to get, like, a pat on the back, like, I went to the Anne Frank house and I was so inspired that I wrote this, like, fanfic. Like, oh, dude, like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
He's not trying to do that.
Mm-mm.
So...
5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars. We are on the side of TJ Klune in this. And honestly, like, this is the first book that Kayla and I have both given 5 stars to, which is kind of cool. So, where's my 5 star? Do I not have one? Maybe I don't have one.
I don't think you have one.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, here. I have one now. I actually don't get that many 5 stars out, so maybe that's why.
Mine's not working either, though.
There, it is.
Okay, great, thank you.
So this is our first one. We've both given it 5 stars,
5
too.
stars.
So sorry for the big rant, but...
it's important.
I do think it's important.
It's an important conversation to have.
This book even inspired me. Like, there's so many passages I highlighted just because it had wisdom in it. And I think, you know, books can serve so many different purposes. We talked about this with Starter Villain. They can be entertainment. They can be escapism. I think books can... help us like relate. I think a book like Twilight is very relatable for your first love when you're a teenager, and I think books sometimes have wisdom, and I guess that's another reason why I compare it to The Hobbit, because I think The Hobbit had a lot of wisdom in it.
I agree. There was a lot. So I listened to the audiobook of this, and
how was it?
Oh my god, it was amazing. He did voices for all the kids. It was so sweet.
Have you seen like people's fan art of the kids online?
No, but I want to.
Cool.
Look it up, but I'll finish saying what I want to say, because I listened to the audiobook and I would clip parts of the audiobook, but I absolutely will read it again, and I will probably read it physically and on ebook, and I will highlight the ever-loving shit out of it.
I have to get this.
Oh my god, look how cute that was!
Oh my god, look how cute. That's the end of the book. Isn't that so cute?
Look at my girl Talia.
Oh my god, I love her. And she's so cute too. So she ends up meeting this woman who runs the hardware store, but she's also the mayor. Talia thinks, like, this woman, like, sunshine comes out of her bunghole.
Yes.
Like, she's just like... She's like, you like know how to garden and you know tools. They both have subscriptions to Garden Tools monthly.
No, because Garden Tools bi-monthly is really where it's at. If you read Garden Tools monthly, you're trash.
Yeah, they go to this place, like, they've had a wonderful day out. They took Lucy to the record store. Lucy found, like, this cool hip cat. Somebody does try to give him an exorcism.
Yes.
Someone tries to give him it's really scary. Like, this book finds ways to, like, kind of make it, I don't know. I don't want to say make it fun, but it's cute.
So you should listen to the audiobook because Chelsea has a voice like this.
Oh my gosh.
It's so cute.
So this kid, they go to a record store. This guy tries to do an exorcism on Lucy.
She is.
And Lucy fights back. He throws the guy against a wall. And then the record store owner is just like, oh, man, that guy's like a lame cat or whatever,
He's
right?
a square.
He's a square. And,
he's fired.
And then Lucy feels like he's really cool. And this guy gives him, like, cool records. Yeah. And they have a really wonderful day. And then they go to get ice cream, and the guy refuses to serve them. Mm-hmm. Which, again, you can put that in the context of a lot of real-world situations. But he refuses to serve them. But he's the nephew of the cool hardware store owner who is the mayor. And Talia's just like... And she's like, you know, go home. Get out of here. You're fired. Yeah. I can serve the ice cream. I used to work here when I was a teenager. And Talia's like, you serve ice cream too? Is there anything you can't do? Like, it's so beautiful.
It's so cute.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to cry. Oh my god, did you see that?
Yeah, I liked how they kept using that refrain of don't you wish you were here. It's so cute, guys. Oh my god,
I can't even handle it.
Like, I just love it. It was everything you'd want from
I'm seriously crying right now.
Oh my god.
It's so stupid.
Like, happy?
Yes.
It's so really, really beautiful. And it's just, I feel like, I mean, I have felt this way. I have felt that I am too weird to be welcomed into certain spaces or to be accepted by certain people. I get embarrassed when I do job interviews and I have all this, like, horror stuff. And, you know, I'm in my 40s. Like, I should be too old for this. And, you know, books like this remind me that, you know what, there are people who accept me just for who I am and who like me just how I am. And there are people I like for who they are. And, you know, yeah, it makes you feel like like, there's enough love in the world for all of us.
Yeah. There's not a like a limited supply of love.
And maybe the ones who aren't willing to offer it to everybody, like, maybe we don't need theirs.
Yeah. Yeah, like his neighbor, God, I hated that
woman.
woman.
Oh, yeah, she's terrible.
She was the worst.
All right, I'm going to check on your comments.
Okay. My comments.
Not your comments. Yeah, I've seen the remains of the one from Kamloops. Yeah, it's in Canada, which is really sad. And, you know, I did talk about this with Danny, who is Indigenous, and I'm not saying Dan speaks for everybody, but I just...
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess people have the right to be offended by what they want to be offended by, but I think this is a case of people looking to be offended.
Yes, I agree.
Farpoint. Klune totally has the right to interpret and create a story in his own way and through his own lenses, in my opinion.
Yes.
I agree.
Same.
I hope he continues to write about what he's inspired by, regardless of how the loud minority are trying to police him. I agree. Classic Star Trek was definitely a more positive look at the future.
Yeah. Like OG and Next Gen are all I've really seen. But they're very like, what if we all work together and we're not going to break these rules just because you're being a bully?
And I think that's where we get a lot of interesting stories,
Why are you rubbing your face on me?
And that's why I think it's important that we read authors from all walks of life, you know, men and women and non-binary and, you know, every LGBT, you know, different people from different walks of life, different countries. Yeah. I think it's really, really important because you may think you know a story, but maybe you haven't heard it told from somebody who's from this part of the world or who has lived a very different life than some of the other authors you've read. Yeah. And I think that's where we get interesting stories. Like there's that one book, it's about my sister, the serial killer. That one's set in Africa, and it's just like, it's already, like, I have no idea what it's like to live there. So, like, yeah, I think people can be inspired by whatever they're, and even then, I mean, I have seen so many, like, SS werewolf type things and other things that are people inspired by in really bad ways. Like, if you want to, like, you know, get your panties in a twist, like, there's plenty of things you can go be offended by. Yeah. If you want to be. I don't think we need to reach and go after an author who's really just trying to spread positivity and wisdom and kindness. Yeah. Yeah. He's completely non-malicious. I have a book called Dead Babies with Chainsaws. I mean, if you guys want to get your panties in a twist, I got material to twist your panties.
Oh my goodness, I love it. Okay, well, cool. Yeah, that's how we feel about the House in the Cerulean Sea.
Oh, we're doing so well on time. It's only 8:17.
So yeah, so we're gonna read the sequel to this next month, Somewhere Beyond the Sea.
Every time I hear, I have that song in my head. Yeah. Which I thought about that because they played that song in the first one so much, but. I guess this one, so I won't spoil anything, but we do find out that Arthur has a particular motivation for caring for magical children. It's because he also grew up in an orphanage, and the one he was in was very cruel. And he is a magical being, but I won't tell you what. Anyway, and it ends with kind of like an introduction to like, they get a new magical kid. It's a Yeti.
It's a Yeti.
Oh my god, I'm excited.
Yes.
Anyway, that's all the spoilers I got. So yeah, we have Somewhere Beyond the Sea, and this one's from Arthur's point of view, which I think is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's going to delve a little more into Arthur's past. But I think we're also going to find out what's going to happen with this Yeti kid and stuff. So I'm really excited. I loved being here in this world. Like, you know, they keep saying, don't you wish you were here? I'm like, yeah, I do kind of wish I was there.
I do wish I was there.
I would love to go hang out with these kids and
having a little safari in the woods.
Yes. Like I said, I've been reading a lot about foster care. One, for a book I'm writing, but also because I want to be a foster parent. And this was the kind of thing I'm like, you know, occasionally I'm like, oh, I should be a social worker or something, and do something really important. And this book, like, I just wanted to just hang out with these kids and spend time in this orphanage and live there forever.
Yeah, me too.
It was really good.
We can make our own house in the Cerulean Sea.
We can.
Yeah. And then we're going to read Red Shirts. And I haven't started it yet. But
So I have started Red Shirts. Oh my goodness. Adam. Like, seriously, if you have trouble finding this book, you can't find it anywhere, let me know. Like, I will make sure you have a copy. I will send you a damn copy if I have to. But this is so your book. So, yeah, it's about a guy. He's a little older than some of the other ensigns, but he's an ensign on, it's the Enterprise. I can't remember what they call it in this. It's the Enterprise. And Will Wheaton does it, which is great because, Star Trek. He reads the audiobook.
That's cute.
So he gets there and he realizes whenever there's a mission, an away mission, everyone's fucking gone. They're out having coffee or whatever. And he's like, what the fuck? He also realizes that a lot of the ensigns die on these missions in horrible ways. And he starts to ask him, like, this isn't right, guys? But it's more than just, like, that the world is like this. It's this particular ship.
It's called the Intrepid.
The Intrepid.
Yeah.
So he asks them about it. So here's an example. One of the lieutenants, he's kind of like the Riker on their ship. Like, he's good looking and everything. He has this, like, life-threatening virus, and it's up to our main ensign to find a cure for it. And he's like, I don't know what to do. They're only giving me 6 hours. I'm like, guy, dude, chill. Just put it in this microwave here. And he's like, wait, what? Put it in the microwave. Come back in 6 hours. He gets it, and he's looking at this tablet, which is the results, and he's like, this doesn't make any sense. It's gibberish. They're like, dude, you need to go take it to the Riker guy and show it to him and be like, everything's settled except for this one thing. He's like, you can make it whatever you want. I would say, like, the protein bonds, because it's easy to pronounce. But it can be anything. He's going to tell you, oh, well, you missed this thing. Tell him he's a fucking genius. He'll love you for it. Come back. It's all taken care of, and then you're good. And he's like, this doesn't make any sense. They'll say things like, don't be on this team because they just lost somebody, or you can be on this team because they just lost somebody. So for the narrative, it's okay. Or they mention a lot about how dramatic their captain is. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's like Cabin in the Woods. I'm not sure where this is going, but they realize that they are part of a narrative.
That's cool.
That this is a show. Like, I don't know if it actually is a show, but it's not a normal ship. Mm-hmm. It's like a drama. And our main character is just like, what the actual fuck is happening?
Yeah.
But everybody else on the ship has kind of figured it out. So,
I love
Will
it.
Wheaton is
so
great.
excited.
Oh, yeah! Oh my gosh, I keep kidding. Downloaded and ready to go.
Ready
and
to
I've
go.
got Mountain Man 2 because it's a Kindle Unlimited. Mm-hmm. So, and I also have the audiobook with, like, the first 5. So, yeah. So far, it just sounds... And I'm not the Trekkie you are. I watched the classic show when I was a kid. My mom had them all on VHS. I'm not that old. But she had them on VHS. And I grew up watching The Next Generation.
It's like a million seasons and it was just on all the time.
It's so good, though.
It is good. It's great. I love it. It's like perfect television.
But even then, I was catching, like, a lot of the tropes and, like, some of the jokes and stuff. And I know you being a Trekkie, like, you're going to get so much more out of this. So, yeah, you'll have to, like, point out some of the stuff that we're going to probably going to miss.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. I'm not even that far into it. I'm only, like, 5% into it. It's really good.
Yeah. Awesome. So, yeah.
So I'm excited. Our next book club is going to be on...
August 28th.
August 28th. So that's the last Thursday of next month. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Somewhere Beyond the Sea. We're going to talk about Red Shirts. And you've read Mountain Man 2, right? Adam? Oh, wait for the chat. But I'm pretty sure you've read it. If not, you're going to read it with me. That's just going to be a buddy read between you and I. And I'm just going to give you my uncensored thoughts on Scus. And where that's going.
For Adam Appreciation Month.
For Adam Appreciation Month.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have buttons. We have a button maker. Make us
we
some
do
buttons.
have a button maker. Hell yeah. Cool.
Make us some buttons.
Okay.
I'll make them look like kind of like the Star Trek things too.
Okay, I'll do it. I know.
Wait, can you know how?
Yeah, I know.
No way.
Yeah, I know what I need to do.
He'll reread it. And honestly, Mountain Man wasn't that long. So if you have extra time.
I should. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
If not, I will just tell you everything that happens. So I'm just going to give you constant updates. Like
I like the Haley version of stories sometimes more than I like to read the book in itself. So
The Juicy Scuss is in 3. Oh my god, you're
I'm gonna have to get caught up.
Oh. So from what I understand about Mountain Man 2, isn't it from Gus's not Gus, it's from Scott's point of view? I think it's from the other guy. Because they separated at the end, which, big mistake. I'm so upset by that. I need to read all 7 of them.
You're asking for a lot here.
Just to be safe.
You're asking for a lot.
Oh.
Anyways.
I'm definitely going to read 2. Okay, I know you've been asking for it. So, whoa, how did you get that cool little Star Trek emoji?
How did you?
Can you do that?
Yeah. I practiced.
Yeah, I have to put them together and then take them apart. Sweet.
I feel like a what are those things called from the Land of the Lost? A slee stack? Is that what they're called?
I have no idea what you're talking about. But
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what they're called.
Well, I feel like I only have 2 fingers.
Dude, look at us. Like, we did book club in an hour and a half.
High five, dude.
That's, like, so efficient.
Yeah. Well, I think it helps not reading 4 books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think 2 books is great.
I think it is
you
too.
know, and for everybody, you know, anybody who might watch this later, yeah, if you give us recommendations, we are still going to look at your recommendations. We're not just taking one from the chat like we used to, but, you know, Red Shirts was one that Adam said he'd wanted to read.
Yeah.
So we put that in because, you know, Adam watches the show a lot. So, you know, if you watch the show, if you have a recommendation, let us know. A lot of times, like the day of the stream, Kayla and I are like, I have no idea what I'm going to pick. And so a lot of times we're like, well, does anybody have any recommendations that they want to see?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Send us what your thoughts are because I'm running out of ideas. I have a lot of books that I want to read, but it's like, would anybody else find this interesting? Probably not.
And we like to pick ones that people are going to read along with us.
And that might make a good conversation.
Yeah, and so you can. We have a Bluesky, we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook. You can message us on all of those. You can message us on the Goodreads group.
I think we're accessible in almost every single place except for maybe X.
The next 6 weeks are all Mountain Man books. I do appreciate Adam. I do.
Yeah. I have to get caught up, though, so.
You really do.
Yeah.
Seriously.
New suggestions in 2027. All right. Here we go. Okay. Well.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
August 28th. We will
28th.
see you guys again. And until we meet again.
Blessed be.